Hi, Dr. Jonice Webb here, clinical psychologist. Welcome to my video series on emotional neglect. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 8 warning signs of emotional neglect in a family. I will tell you what the 8 signs are very shortly, but first I want to start with explaining some important things about how emotionally neglectful families work. So as adults, most of us tend to minimize the impact that our birth families, or what therapists call the family of origin, have on our daily choices and lives. But the reality is that the family you were born into and that raised you still lingers in your adult brain, influencing your feelings, reactions, and choices. In 1953, D.W. Winnicott, a very famous researcher and author, first introduced the concept of the good enough mother in a groundbreaking book called Playing and Reality. His words changed the field of psychology and mental health forever by linking the way you experience your connection with your parents in childhood to the way you are as an adult. His essential concept was that you don't need a perfect parent to turn out okay. You only need to have a parent that's good enough. A 2019 research study by Susan Woodhouse found that a parent only has to get it right 50% of the time to be a good enough parent. So let's talk about childhood emotional neglect for a minute. So childhood emotional neglect, or CEN, happens when your parents sufficiently neglect your emotions and emotional needs, meaning they do not notice what you are feeling, ask about your feelings, connect with you on an emotional level, or validate your feelings enough emotionally. Emotionally neglectful parents usually have no idea they are neglecting their children's emotions. They're typically folks who tend to turn a blind eye to feelings in general, including their own, their friends, their families, their coworkers, and that includes their children's. They may mean well and care for and want to do their best for their kids. They probably have no idea what they're missing. This can make many emotionally neglectful families challenging to spot. They are indeed good enough in the most visible ways. They may provide you with a home, food, clothing, and rides to soccer practice, but they do not have frank talks with you about problems you're facing, soothe you enough when your friends hurt your feelings, or teach you how to notice, name, or manage your emotions. The one failure of the emotionally neglectful family is emotional. There may be enough hugs, there may be enough money, there may be enough food and clothing, but this family does not manage to provide enough emotional awareness, validation, compassion, or emotional care to the children. So this is what makes emotionally neglectful families difficult to see or identify. Unlike physical neglect, emotional failures are difficult to see. So let's talk about how childhood emotional neglect plays out in a family. As a psychologist who works with adults who grew up with childhood emotional neglect every day, I have seen how it affects people's relationships with their families of origin. It often results in adult children who sense that something is wrong with them but have no idea what that is, and are also baffled by their feelings about their families. So now I'm going to tell you 8 signs of emotional neglect to watch for in your family. So the first is that your family conversations tend to be surface topics, meaning they're seldom about emotional or meaningful or painful or negative things. They may even make it boring. The second is that you sometimes feel an unexplained resentment or anger towards your parents, which you may feel guilty about. So you go to family events with hopes of enjoying yourself, but you often come away feeling empty or disappointed. The third are difficult or interpersonal problems in the family are generally ignored instead of addressed directly. The next one is that it feels like your siblings are competing with each other, but you're not sure for what. The sixth is that affection in your family is expressed via action, meaning doing things for people and not so much by words or emotional expression. Perhaps only negative emotions, but maybe all seem taboo in your family. And the last is that you feel surprisingly lonely or left out when you're with your family. The members of an emotionally neglectful family do suffer. They suffer from what goes unsaid, unshared, undiscussed, unnoticed, and unvalidated. If your family is emotionally neglectful, and if you are living this way, you might notice some of the above signs that I just gave you, and whenever you spend time with them. Just like a beautiful cake baked without enough sugar, what may appear to be fine is not fine. The emotionally neglectful family suffers from an absence of enough of a single ingredient that may not be visible, but which matters greatly to the enjoyment and quality. The feelings that should be sweetening the connections and warmth in the family are basically just shoved underground. This is why you may have felt bored or resentful or disappointed, stifled or alone when it comes to your family. This is why it's so important to name the problem of childhood emotional neglect and make a conscious decisions to fight against it in your own life. So now let's talk about what you can do. You can't fix your family, and you don't even need to try. In fact, you shouldn't try to fix your family, but you can start changing yourself. So choose an item from the list of 8 signs that I gave you that applies to your family and start behaving the opposite way in your own life. So talk about meaningful things. Fight against feeling guilty for your feelings. Focus on self-care with your family. Talk about difficult problems. Express your affection and warmth toward others in words and face your negative emotions. Or you don't have to do it perfectly. Just keep that in mind. You don't have to do it perfectly. You only need to do it enough. Scores of good people have been in your shoes and walked your path before you. And many more are walking with you now. So last but not least, and above all, please know that you are not alone. So if you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments. And be sure to click the link in the description below this video to sign up for the CEN Breakthrough video series. That way you'll know when each video comes out. I'll be sharing much more about emotional neglect and how it affects your relationships with your family and other important people in your life. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.